Sweetheart, say hello to the new owner of your apartment. Mom's voice cracked through the room like lightning. Before my brain could even register it, she marched inside carrying my sister's luggage as if she owned the place. Grace followed right behind her, sunglasses on despite being indoors, sipping a smoothie like she was stepping into a luxury suite, rather than barging into my home. "I'm taking your bedroom," she announced breezily, throwing her bag onto the couch. "Mom already said you can sleep in the guest room until I redesign everything." I stared at them. What? Mom scoffed as if I were being slow on purpose. "Grace needs room and you're wasting this apartment, Natalie. You just live here." Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Rhodes. I'm 26, and this was the exact moment my family decided to kick me out of the place I bought with my own hard-earned savings. Grace strutted toward my bedroom, running her fingers along the wall like she was inspecting her future investment. "This color is so gloomy, I'll repaint all of it." I stood there frozen. My name was on the lease, my furniture, my bills, my home. And yet they walked around like I was a tenant overstaying my welcome. Then Mom tossed my jacket at me. "Hurry up and get your things out before the movers arrive." And that was the moment I exhaled slowly and smiled. Small, quiet, intentional. "All right," I murmured, "if that's what you want." Grace chuckled. Good girl. What she didn't see was me unlocking my phone and hitting record before I even finished the sentence. Grace started barking orders at the movers, like she was redecorating a mansion she'd inherited. "Put my vanity in the master bedroom. Oh, and dump that horrible bookshelf." "That's my bookshelf?" I said quietly. She didn't bother looking at me. Not anymore. My phone, resting on the kitchen counter, captured every word, each insult, every arrogant command, every smug little laugh. I kept my voice light, relaxed, almost detached, because the calmer I sounded, the more careless they became. Mom started rummaging through my drawers. "You really should have told us you had this much money saved. It's selfish to keep it to yourself. Grace will put it to better use." "Mom," I whispered, "are you actually serious?" She gave me that condescending half-smile she used whenever she thought I was being difficult. "Sweetheart, families share what they have. Don't act stingy." Family. The word left a bitter taste. When they finally left, I locked the door and played back the recording. Clear audio of Mom admitting she'd transferred ownership, Grace ordering me out of my own bedroom, every piece of proof laid out in clean, crisp sound. I emailed the file to my lawyer friend, Diana, along with my lease, receipts, and bank statements. Her reply arrived in minutes. "Nat, this is perfect. Don't confront them. Wait. I'll take care of everything." They thought I was packing to leave. I was preparing to evict them. 2 days later, the movers returned, but this time they weren't here to take my things away. When I opened the door, they handed me a thick stack of official envelopes. Diana had worked faster than I expected. "These are court documents," the lead mover said. "Need to deliver them to Miss Grace and Mrs. Rhodes." Perfect. Mom and Grace arrived an hour later, gliding in like returning royalty checking on their estate. "Why haven't you moved out yet?" Grace snapped. I held up the envelopes. "Because I'm not leaving." Mom scoffed. "What's this now?" "Legal filings," I said, calming. "The lease, the property taxes, and the evidence of you trying to evict me." Grace ripped one open and skimmed it. Her smirk dissolved. You recorded us?" "Yes, when you told me my room wasn't mine." Mom's voice cracked. "You're choosing paperwork over your own family?" "No," I said, keeping my voice perfectly level. "I chose myself when you stopped choosing me." Just then, Diana called. "Put me on speaker." "Natalie, inform them the court approved a temporary restraining order. They're not allowed to enter your apartment without your permission." Grace's face drained. Mom fumbled over her words, trying to blame miscommunication. But I just stood there, still wearing the same quiet smile I'd had 2 days earlier. Now it was their turn to pack their things. That night, the silence felt different, warm, honest, mine. Everything in my apartment sat exactly where I left it, untouched, unbothered, respected. But peace never lasts long with people like them. At 10:47 p.m., the security panel buzzed. "Miss Rhodes, your mother's downstairs. Says she left her purse." Of course she did. "Let her up." She walked in pretending humility. "Sweetheart, can we talk?" "We already are. Sit." She scanned the room like she was looking for an escape. "You embarrassed us with this legal stunt. The neighbors are talking. Grace is heartbroken." "Grace," I repeated slowly. "You mean the person who tried to steal my room, my apartment, my life?" "You always twist everything," Mom sighed. "We weren't taking your apartment." I cut in. "You were telling people you gave it to Grace." Her mouth opened, but the excuse died when I played the recording of her bragging to Grace, "As soon as Natalie moves out, we'll have full control." Her face went pale. "Mom," I said softly, "you raised me to value family, but you stopped practicing the lesson yourself." The doorbell rang. Diana again, handing me another envelope. "This one," she said, "isn't from the court. It's from the landlord." Mom froze. "Your unauthorized sublease is terminated immediately." Diana added. The next morning, the hallway became a storm. Mom pacing, Grace frantically calling anyone she thought had power, Diana beside me like a shield. "You can't do this, Natalie. We're family," Grace cried. I tilted my head. "You should have read the lease before moving your stuff into my home." Diana stepped forward. "For the record, this unit belongs solely to Miss Natalie Rhodes. Any attempt to claim or occupy it without her consent violates Section 12B of her agreement." "Section what?" Mom muttered. Grace shot her a glare. "Mom, did you even read the lease? You told me you owned it." Diana smiled politely. "Ownership isn't something you imagine. It's something you sign. And Natalie is the only signature." Grace's voice shook. "You're doing this to shame us." "No," I answered. "I'm doing this because you turned my kindness into an open door for theft." Then the movers arrived again, the same ones they'd hired days earlier, carrying their boxes instead of mine. Mom whispered something about betrayal as she trailed behind them. Diana looked at me. "You did everything right." I exhaled slowly, staring at the empty doorway. "No," I murmured. "This is only the start." A week passed without a word. Then Grace finally texted. "Mom wants to talk. Dinner tonight. No lawyers." In my family, no lawyers always meant someone was planning something. I still went. Letting them speak was the easiest way to unmask their intentions. Mom was already seated at the restaurant. Perfect posture, rehearsed sweetness. "Sweetheart, we just want a clean slate. It's silly to fight over something as small as an apartment." "Small?" I echoed. "You tried to hand over my entire life to someone else." Grace stirred her drink dramatically. "Grandpa always said family property belongs to everyone." I smiled. "He also said honesty comes before inheritance." That shut her up. Mom leaned in, voice soft but sharp. "You made us look terrible, Natalie. The landlords, the neighbors, everyone thinks we're greedy. You need to fix that." "By doing what?" I asked. "Posting something nice online," she said. "Say you misunderstood. Say we were helping you." I laughed quietly. "You're asking me to lie again." Her eyes hardened. "You owe us that much." I stood, placing my phone on the table, the screen still recording. "No, Mom. What I owe you is a mirror, so you can finally see who you've become." Their faces fell. I picked up my bag and walked away, calm and unhurried. The next morning, I woke to 83 missed messages, half from Grace, half from Mom. Apparently, my calm dinner exit had gone viral. I hadn't posted anything, not a word, but the restaurant CCTV had captured everything. Their attempt to guilt me, the recorded confession, and my final line, "What I owe you is a mirror?" Someone on staff uploaded it anonymously, with a caption, When the quiet daughter finally speaks. Within hours, it was everywhere. People flooded my DMs with messages. Strangers sharing stories of betrayal, favoritism, and stolen peace. Grace called crying. "Natalie, please take it down. People are calling us thieves." "You made your own statement," I said softly. The world just listened this time. Mom tried next, her tone dripping with false calm. "Sweetheart, you're ruining our reputation." I looked around my spotless apartment, my name shining on the lease framed by the door. "No, Mom," I said. "I'm protecting mine." When I hung up, I noticed something strange. A message from Grandpa. "Proud of you, kiddo. About time someone in this family learned the value of peace over property." That text meant more than anything trending online, because for once, the family that tried to silence me had been exposed by their own echo, and all I'd done was tell the truth quietly. 3 months passed, the noise faded, the viral post, the petty texts, the fake apologies. All that remained was quiet, beautiful, earned quiet. Grace moved in with a friend across town. Mom, still clinging to image, started attending healing seminars and posting inspirational quotes she didn't understand. I didn't reply to her messages anymore, not out of hate, but peace. The landlord renewed my lease early. "You're one of the few tenants who respect what they have." I smiled. That line hit deeper than he knew. At night, I'd sit by the window, the same one where I once stood crying as they threw my jacket in my face. Now it framed a different view, of stillness, of control, of self-worth. One afternoon, a delivery arrived. No sender listed. Inside the box was a small brass key and a note written in shaky handwriting to the only one who remembered integrity. "The lake house is yours now, Grandpa." Tears blurred my vision. It wasn't about the property. It was about what it meant. Someone saw me, truly saw me, without conditions. That night, I drove to the lake house. The wind was gentle, the air smelled of pine and salt, and for the first time in years, I whispered to myself, "No one can evict peace."